want to throw this out there. How many of you did the Travis Scott Fortnite thing yesterday, or saw the Fortnite music concert thing they did? Anybody join that? Show hands. Keegan. We got 2.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of that? I was talking to Andy about it. I think it was like the future of concerts. Do you guys think it was cool?
Yeah, it was a little weird at first, but it was really cool. I'll say that.
Did you see Did you do the marshmallow one, Keegan?
No, I didn't.
Like, AJ thinks it's like the coolest thing, but like some of my like friends, like they like think it's like weird, and they're like, "Oh, Travis Scott's like weird now."
Interesting.
Marsh, how did you and your friends or whatever the tech world make the jump to future concerts?
I mean, you think about, yeah, I mean, I think, there's the book Ready Player One that I'm sure some of you have maybe read, that is sort of like and there was a movie about it a few years ago, and it's like this, using virtual reality, like the Oculus headsets, but like a more advanced version to create this amazing world where you kind of can do all these crazy things. Everyone always talks about, like, when are we going to get there? Is that ever going to happen? There's a lot of reasons why we're still pretty far away from it, but I think given the coronavirus forcing everything to change very differently, like people can't get together, you're not going to really have like crowded sporting events, concerts, music festivals for a while. And even then, it's unclear if we'll ever go back to normal. So you start to think about like, okay, well, if you can have a concert where a musician's a giant and he's flying through space and a star is exploding and like crazy things are happening, and you have 12 million people watching it at the same time, like if the technology for how you view and experience that kind of catches up with how it looks, why would you go stand in a crowded concert to like listen to music that doesn't sound that good when you could put on like a headset and like be in this crazy world and watching and listening to a concert at the same time while getting to do all these other things from the comfort of your own home and share that experience with like the world at the same time. I think we're going to see a lot more versions of that coming up with sports and with entertainment, concerts, social interactions like this. Zoom was built for business kind of teleconferencing. It wasn't built for social interactions. And you'll see a lot of new products coming up that are like making a better version of this, but for group settings. So like, I mean, all you all that are on here, like, I'm sure Zooming with your friends is not the same as like hanging out at lunch or after school or on the weekend with your friends. You can't have the same kind of conversations. You can't all talk at the same time. You can't have side conversations. So, it's like there's going to be better versions of that come along. And I think that, being able to create these like immersive concert experiences will like reign supreme over paying $100 to stand, a crowded room full of like 10,000 people to sort of see someone perform.
Marshall, you and I have sort of talked about this, and you've said that one of the reasons from the entertainment side is the tech isn't there yet, like with the virtual headsets. But let's just take a look at real quickly the athletic side, because the HD TV, humongous TV in your living room, that tech is a little more advanced for maybe watching a football game. Do you think that the COVID crisis could really impact the like season ticket revenue for NFL teams and stuff like that?
1,000%. I mean, I think especially in the short term, people are going to be until like a vaccine's out there and people have certainty as to like whether or not they're not going to get sick. I think it's probably going to change for a season or 18 months, maybe a season for like football and some basketball next year. It's kind of a huge unknown. Like people that I know that I've worked with that are, work for teams or for leagues, it's a massive point of uncertainty. Everyone's trying to kind of figure out, much like you guys are, how to like run a swim team when you can't be in a pool. That's like a huge challenge, but it's a small scale challenge compared to like running the multi-billion-dollar NFL or NBA, without being able to, one, get athletes together to train, and two, all the things that generate revenue for them are sort of lost. So again, you'll see like a lot of creativity, a lot of enhanced at-home viewing, a lot of emphasis on recreating that experience at home. Some of that's easier said than done, but if you're a sports fan, I think you'll have to get used to sort of watching from home, which for me like has been an awesome experience. I mean, I prefer to watch the majority of sporting events from my couch. But but I think this will push through like a bunch of innovation as to why that's better. And also how like,
what if you and I wanted to watch, like if we wanted to watch the Pacers together? I know there's Netflix Party, but would we currently would we jump on a Zoom together and both have the game up and running at our house, or is there a technology for that?
There's a few apps that have launched that allow for like dual streaming of the same content. Some on Zoom, some on things like the Netflix Watch. I forget exactly. I've not done that one, but similar concepts to that. I think like Twitch has a version of it that works. The Facebook portal has a system where you can watch like Facebook Watch content together with other people. But I think you're going to start to see, how do you I think social settings, especially for like people who live in major cities, like you're not going to go out to nightclubs and be going to crowded dinners and all that stuff as much as you were before. So a lot of money and time will be spent on how do you create like the better version of that in your home. And some of that's just going to be piecing together things that are already there, but also like, how do you just, I'm sure all of you are trying to figure out how to hang out with your friends from your living room or from your basement or from your bedroom on Zoom or on all these apps. And it's like, okay, and some of them work and some of them don't, but you can expect in the next like 6 to 12 months or some really awesome things coming out to solve those problems.
Cool. Thank you. Evan, you had your hand up.
Yeah, so you're kind of betting on the world will kind of change after this. How do you think businesses should be pivoting to still be relevant in a post-COVID world?
I mean, I think a lot of that's going to come down to like the difference in consumer choice. So like right now I'm consulting for a retail e-commerce company called Verishop that sells like higher end brands across fashion, beauty, electronics, home goods, etc. And we're seeing like people aren't buying nice clothes and dresses and like suits and stuff that you would wear to work or wear to go out in, but they're buying more like loungewear, cookware, like stuff to like do at home. So I think you'll see more companies succeed that are in those categories that are a bit more relevant to the at-home kind of casual experience. But in terms of like investing in, I invest in companies aside, huge wave in telecommunicating, conferencing, like virtual social, like socializing that they're gonna raise a ton of money. Zoom being a great example of one that's like, if you follow the stock market at all, you've seen, companies like Uber have a challenging time through this because people aren't taking rides. But companies like Zoom, where they've gone from, a few like 10 to 20 million users to like 200 million users in the span of a month. They're not the only company that's out there that's going to do this. So I think there's going to be a lot of investment in like at-home work. I think companies are realizing they don't need to have offices with all these amenities that are really expensive for them to operate. So like the cost of operating a business is going to change significantly. Like the big tech companies that have like engineers all over the world are realizing that they've actually been making it work before. And now they just don't, their offices are so expensive, and that makes the margin for whatever their core business is much, much lower. And that's going to change. Mm-hmm. I also think that, again, like food is another one. Restaurants are going to have to pivot to kind of meet a demand for more delivery and less in-house dining. People talk about like business travel dying and a lot of like, business travel is such a huge percentage of the makeup of the travel industry. And I think that's going to change. When I worked at Uber, I traveled like 2 weeks a month, and if I was living in that world now, that would never happen. You're adopting to doing deals over Zoom and the phone. And there's some industries that are kind of ready for that and some that are going to struggle to adopt to that. I don't think B2B sales will die completely. It's just going to have to change both the strategy for how those deals get done, and then like what's the point of emphasis for those solutions. Like some things probably will struggle to continue as like, they were like kind of built for a specific trend or a specific insight, and that if that's gone away, they're either have to pivot or adopt or die. Like this is going to have massive rippling effects on Main Street, small businesses in communities like Fishers. It's going to have like macro level effects on massive tech companies. You look at like Bird and Lime and all these scooter companies that have raised all this money. Like who knows what's going to happen there. Even like Google and Facebook are seeing massive declines in advertising revenue because these small businesses just don't have the budgets to support it now. So they're slashing teams. I mean, Google just froze hiring on marketing and cut marketing budgets by like 50% across the board. but resources get reallocated, and I think that like we'll start to see how that pans out over the next probably 3 to 6 months.